Alright, so our first lesson is going to be about exponents, the basic rules of exponents. So you can write in exponents for the title, basic rules. So our essential question, remember EQ stands for essential question. You don't have to write out the word essential question if you want to just write EQ. Okay, our essential question is, what is an exponent? What are the rules of using exponents to simplify an expression or solve an equation? Okay, so basically you want to find out what exponent is and rules of using exponents. Okay, and there's a reason why we underline. We kind of talked about it already in class. So let's really quickly review what an exponent is, okay? Exponents. What is an exponent? So we've seen some examples where we have 5 to the third power. So we have it as 5 times 5 times 5, 3 times. So that's what that 3 tells us. That is the exponent. So 5 here is the base, and 3 is called the exponent, which tells us how many times we're gonna multiply the base. So the base is 5, we're gonna have once, twice, 3 times. Then from there, we're gonna also learn how to say it properly. I heard a lot of you guys would just say 5, 3. That tells mathematicians nothing. Okay, so the conventional way of saying is 5 raised to the third power. Again, if you want to write it down, 5 raised to the third power is how you would say it. So let's put that in quotes of how to say 5 to the third power. Okay, and then another way of saying it, if you want a shorthand of saying it, is 5 to the third power. So you don't have to say raised if you don't want to say raised. Okay, so those are the two keywords of how to say it. So maybe if you want to put a little note how to say it properly. And I would highly recommend that you also highlight it. So highlighting it so it stands out and pops out at you. So I don't want to hear you say 5, 3. That tells me nothing. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are saying it properly so that way we all know how to say it and what you're referring to when you talking and explaining about your problem. How do you solve for it? Okay. Alright, so from there, you're going to go on to the next rule. Okay. So number 2, not 3. This is why we have erasers. 2. So the first basic rule is called the well, I'm gonna let you decide. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a question. Simplify x to the third power times x to the fourth power. So we know that x to the third power means we're gonna have, just like what we've seen before, the base is x. So how many times we're gonna repeat x? 3 times. Okay, and then we have x to the fourth power, which tells us x times x times x, 4 times x times 4. Okay, so you're gonna multiply x by itself 4 times. So x to the fourth power. Now, we're going to put these two together. X to the third times x to the fourth is equal to, well, let's put that down here. So these guys, we're going to put in parentheses down here, x times x times x. And then these guys, we're going to put in the other parentheses to replace x to the fourth power. X times x times x times x. So this was very exhausting, right? Instead of having to write x to the third times x to the fourth, you're expanding it out so to make sure that how many there are, to double check. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have x to the 7th power because we have it 7 times. So you can simplify x to the third times x to the fourth is equal to x to the 7th. So let's kind of generalize that idea, that rule. So let's keep that under the same title. So I'm gonna shift up a little bit so that way we can make sure we see everything. Okay, so generalization of the rules that we just seen, of the problems that we saw above. So x to the m power times x to the n power. So let's see. What do you notice? X to the third power times x to the fourth power. How do we get to x to the 7th power? What are we doing to these two numbers? 3 and 4. How do we get 3 and 4 to get to 7? What are we doing here? Are we adding? So yeah, we can certainly add. So x to the third power plus x to the fourth power gives you x to the 7th power. So if you think of it that way, we can kind of generalize it out for x to the m power times x to the m power. So x to the m power times x to the m power, can add it. X to the m plus x to the n. And that would be our final answer. Again, we box our answer so it stands out at us. Okay. Alright, I'm going to give you another problem. Very similar. I want to see if you can handle this. Okay. So number 4. Simplify. Meaning you want to make it easier. That's what simplify means. X to the 2nd power. All of that raised to the 4th power. Okay. So let's take a moment and think of x squared or x to the 2nd power as if it were just a blank box. Let's put blank on. Okay. So basically this changes to blank raised to the 4th power. And we know how to do that from previous terms, right? So blank times blank times blank times blank 4 times. And now we can kind of fill in the x squared. X squared is remember parentheses, order of operations, that whatever is in the parentheses, you have to kind of stick it together first. So x squared, x squared, x squared, x squared. Okay? And from there, we know what x squared means. What's x squared? X squared just means x times x, right? So that was inside your box from before. X times x. Okay, and then x times x. Oh my gosh. You're gonna appreciate exponents later, so you don't have to write this out every single time. Okay, so from there, how many x's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So equals to x to the 8th power altogether. Okay, so x squared all raised to the 4th power. So that means, what are we doing to 2 and 4 to get to 8? Ah, so we're multiplying, right? Oops, I did it wrong. It's not 2 times 8, it's 2 times 4 to gives you x to the 8th power. Okay, so let's generalize this rule. Take a guess what I'm gonna use. Generalize this rule for us. X to the n, x to the m all raised to the x to the nth power, or all raised to the nth power. So x to the n, all raised to the nth power. So that means we're gonna do what with our m and n? Yep, you guessed it. We're gonna multiply it out. M times n. Okay, and that will be our final solution. Any questions about this? If not, go ahead and write down your summary. What did you learn of the basic rules? I'm gonna move on to the next one, a little bit more different, and then you'll see it. Okay.